Back at it today with another video, as today we're going to be looking at 5 Dark Horse MVP candidates for the 2023 season. Real quick before we get into the video, I just want to let you guys know there is no specific order with these. I'm just naming off 5 players today. So with that in mind, let's get right into the video. Now for our first Dark Horse MVP candidate of today's video, I have Corey Seager. Seager's the type of player who's always been an all-star caliber player, a very good player, but never quite an MVP candidate outside of the 2016 season where he finished 3rd in the NL MVP voting. Last year, in his first year in Texas, he had a pretty up and down season as he hit .245 with 33 home runs and a .777. But I think Seager will settle in nicely in his second year in Texas. I'm not saying he's going to hit a lot more home runs because the 33 home runs was a career high, but I think he's going to have a much higher average. I also want to mention that there is no shift this year, so that I think is going to benefit Seager massively. He is one of the few players in the league who really does pull the ball, so without any shift, I think Seager's going to be getting a lot more hits and a lot more RBIs. He's heading into his age 28 season, so he's really in the middle of his prime right now, and if he stays healthy, I think he is a very good Dark Horse MVP candidate. Now for our second candidate of today's video, I have Michael Harris of the Braves. Harris is coming off an incredible rookie year as he only played in 114 games and won the Rookie of the Year award. In those 114 games, he hit .297 with 19 home runs, 20 stolen bases, and an .853 OPS. On top of what seems the unlimited offensive potential this guy has, he's also a Gold Glove caliber outfielder already. He's only 22 years old, and there's every reason to believe he's only going to get better. I think Harris is already one of the premier outfielders in the game. He really does it all. I don't see many weaknesses in his game, and this year I think he's going to have a big season. Moving on to our next candidate, I have Bo Bichette of the Toronto Blue Jays. Bichette, just a few years back, was a highly touted prospect in Toronto's system, and ever since getting called up, he's lived up to the hype. Last year, he put together a very good season as he hit .290 with 24 home runs, 13 stolen bases, and an .802 OPS. And in 2021, he was even better as he had 24 home runs to go along with 29 stolen bases. Now defensively, it's a different story. Bichette is one of the worst defensive players in the league, and I do think he has time to get better. I'm not saying he's going to be a Gold Glove defender. I just think he can eventually be average one day. But with how good this guy is offensively, it really isn't the biggest steal in the world. He is a very talented offensive player who has 30 home run, 30 stolen base potential. And one reason why I'm so big on Bichette this year is the fact that he's only 25 years old and he has also been tearing it up this spring. I feel like when people think of an MVP candidate from the Blue Jays, they would think of Vlad Guerrero Jr., and for good reason. He's a very talented player, but Bo Bichette isn't too far behind. Moving on to the next player, I have Austin Riley of the Atlanta Braves. Now I know this is a teammate of Michael Harris, who I mentioned earlier, but I think Riley is another MVP candidate who is getting slept on the Braves. Last year he put together a very good season as he hit .273 with 38 home runs and an .878 OPS. He finished 6th in the MVP voting last year, and he is an extremely durable player as well. He has only missed 5 games combined over the past 2 seasons. On top of that, he's heading into his age 25 season, so he's entering his prime at this point, and he's going to be hitting in the middle of a very talented Atlanta lineup. I think Riley has all the talent in the world, and I think he is a legitimate Dark Horse MVP candidate who not a lot of people are thinking of as an MVP candidate. Now getting on to our 5th and final candidate of today's video, I have Alex Bregman of the Houston Astros. Bregman has been one of the best third basemen in the game for a pretty long time now. Last year, he didn't necessarily have an Alex Bregman type season as he only hit .259 with 23 home runs and an .820 OPS. But in the second half, he was clearly one of the best hitters in baseball. He was just getting hit after hit, and it looked like pitchers couldn't keep him off base. I also want to mention the fact that last year was Bregman's first full season since his 2019 season. I mentioned this 2019 season because this is a season in which Bregman nearly won the MVP award as he hit .296 with 41 home runs and a .1015 OPS as he finished 2nd in the voting. So with the legitimate talent this guy has to go along with his torrid second half, and also the fact that he's in one of the best offenses in baseball, really leads me to believe that he is going to have a bounce back season and be very good. He's heading into his age 29 season, and I think he's in for a huge season. Real quick before we wrap the video up, we have a few honorable mentions in Bobby Witt Jr. and Adley Rutschman, and I also want to mention a few other players who I really wanted to put on the list, but I don't necessarily think they're dark horses in Nolan Arenado and Fernando Tatis Jr. But anyways, that's going to wrap today's video up. Let me know what you guys think down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.